spending money is like, it's a luxury that comes with scale. And what people do, they have their little business and they want to buy their way out of all the problems. But the reason it doesn't work is because the most important thing that is going to happen on what we discussed today is you doing it. It's not about even the system. Like, you need to go through this process of understanding the architecture of your own company, of defining the own personality of your own brand. If you can't articulate it, no one ever will, and your company will never do anything cool and won't get big, right? So even though it sucks and it's annoying, like you going through the process is really the most valuable piece of what we're talking about. Just like in the military, when you go through boot camp, it's really not about you just knowing how to clean an M16 or whatever, like, technical skill you learn. It's about who you become going through the process as a human. So as a business owner, this is like boot camp. Like, I'm of the opinion that you need to invest your time and your sweat into these systems in the beginning. And then when you start scaling up, spending money on automation and software and tools is super awesome. It's amazing, but you already have a foundation at that point.
Welcome to the Quick Talk Podcast with Joshua Latimer, where we discuss business, life, family, faith, struggle, fire, pain, and ultimately winning.
It's time to take massive action. Look, I can't work harder on your life or business than you do. It's ultimately all on you.
You know, God created all the food the birds would ever need, but he doesn't put it in their nest. You've got to go get it.
10 out of 10 people die. So how about doing something today that actually matters while you still can? What up, Quick Talk listeners? Josh here. Hey, today I'm going to play a live coaching call that I just did. I actually did the call today, and I thought it was really cool. Some of the things that came up and that we discussed, it was really relevant. And so I got permission from the person I was speaking with to play this. Now, the person's going to remain anonymous. There's a few beeps and beep outs and stuff. This is a franchise owner. And, we just want to keep it on the down low. But the content it should be very valuable to you. I'm curious to get your guys' feedback on it. If you have questions, if you want to hear more of these, let me know. I also want to let everybody know that I have a new voicemail number, which is super cool. Here, let me pull the number up. What that means is I have a phone number that you can call, and you can ask me a question. Or if you don't have a question, you just want to leave some awesome lovey-dovey voice message about what you get out of this podcast, that's amazing. I'm going to play these messages on the podcast. How cool is that? That's awesome, right? So all you got to do is call 810-201-4555. I'll say it again. It's 810-201-4555. You can leave a 3-minute message. You can ask a question. Let me know a business struggle that you have. I can answer it on air, which is super awesome. I've been meaning to do this for a long time. Or you can just leave a comment. I'd love to get some love from you guys. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know the ideas that you have for the show. And yeah, that's it. 810-201-4555. But let's get started and let's play today's coaching call.
Here's the big one. People struggle answering this, but give me your best answer. What do you want to happen with this? What is your why, your outcome, the mountaintop? What are we trying to do? Why did you give a bunch of money? Why are you doing this? What are we trying to make happen?
So, quite honestly, it's going to sound weird because my why doesn't make sense to anybody but me. I want to be great. So that's it. That's the but the
significance.
Practical, well, yes, but the practical reason is, I want to provide for my family. I don't want them struggling like they're starting to struggle now, and I don't like it. I've always been able to provide for my family, and so that's one thing. But that's that's a practical thing, and I don't think that requires me to be great. That requires me to be competent. But when I say I want to be great, what I mean is I want to build something that can run on its own. Like that, to me, the process is the reward. If that makes any sense.
I think that's a freaking awesome answer. I mean, and I think it's good that you're self-aware enough to know that that's the real driving force. So the next step, though, here's where it gets tricky. We need to define what it means for you to be great. Okay, so we need to take it one step further. Like, how do I measure if you're becoming great? And so some ideas are like, okay, you want an automated company, you said, and then that would make you feel like you had, accomplished that, or at a basic level, like your greatness and that you're significant, that you're making an impact, and with a side benefit of taking care of your family, right? But if we can't measure it, then we don't know if we're winning. So what type, like, do you need $1 million business? Do you need to make $100,000 of personal income while only working 10 hours a week? What are the yardsticks we can use?
All right, hold on a second. I wrote all this down. I got unfortunately a pile of paper. It's a different pile than the last pile, but it's still a pile of paper on my desk here. Offhand, I would say this. Like, I ultimately would like to, be able to make, $250,000 from whatever I'm doing, but that's over the next 5 years of the personal income. But the reality is, I want to, as far as what's greatness mean, greatness means that the people that work for me, not only are they capable and fulfilled in what they do, but when they go do it, they're taking ownership of it. So that, to me, that's a symbol of greatness right there. That's a big thing for me. And so, and then I wrote down a few things. I wrote down a bunch of stuff, but the biggest thing was to be able to go and know that I can take time out for my family.
How much time?
Well, I wrote it down. I'd like to take 3 vacations, and it's weird. One
3?
Big one with one big one with the family, one mini family vacation, and a couples. I put a couples event. I use the word event for some reason. I don't know.
That's awesome.
And so that's really, to me, that's greatness. Like, if I have people who work for me who not only understand where we're trying to go, but they want to go there too, and then as I get better and I'm earning more, they're getting closer to their dreams, whether they leave or not. Because eventually I figured, they're going to leave and go somewhere else. But I want them to leave here thinking, man, you know what? That was a small company I worked for, but I learned so much. It was incredible.
Yeah,
I felt like
I grew. Yeah, that's awesome. So let me ask you this. You mentioned you want $250,000 in personal income, but that was kind of almost like a lesser important point for you to define yourself as achieving greatness. So here's the question. If you had 6 employees in the field, and you had 1 or 2 in the office, and all of them were leaders, and they took ownership, just like you described, and you made $80,000 in personal income for yourself, have you achieved what you said you wanted? Oh, and you get the 3 vacations that you said.
Yeah.
If that happened, if I push the magic button, are you like, heck yeah, high five, Josh, I did it. This is amazing. And then, of course, you can reset bigger goals if you want and think about it then. But as a starting point, as a target, if we achieve that, that would be huge for you, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I'll be honest, like right now, my goal for this year is to be profitable, but even more so, I hate to say it, is really break even. I just want to get to a break even point where I'm consistently.
Did you get an SBA loan when you bought into the franchise?
I did.
How much is that? Is that a 10-year level payment setup?
Man, I think it is. It is. Like, I haven't looked at it in a while. I try to think about what it is, but more importantly, I try to focus on what can I do about it.
Well, what's the monthly payment on it? Like $3,000 a month or something?
No, it's about $1,600.
$1,600? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's significant. That's 10% of your total revenue, and then you have an 8% royalty on top of that, right? Is it 8%, something like that?
7% plus 7%. It comes up to about 10% with all the fees. There's other fees and things like that.
Right. So now we got 20% of revenue going to just to debt service and to royalty. And guess what the average margin is for like a fully built out company? It's like 20 to 30%, which means that's why you have no profit. Okay. So here's the deal. You can have what you want. You can definitely have what you want. Nothing you said is unreasonable. It's all attainable. Lots and lots and lots of other people have already done what you just described. So the question becomes, what's the logical next step? Like, what do you focus on, and what order do you focus on it? That is the key, right? Then you just got to go into execution beast mode. So for you let's look at the 3 different things that you want for this year, for the next 12 months. You're not going to make $80,000 in personal income this year. That can't happen yet based on where you're at. But if we show at least $1 profit or more, right? Is that what you said? You'd be cool with that for now, for the next 12 months?
I would be cool if at the end of the week or end of the year or whatever it is, each period, if I can just, like I said, break even. I mean, if I get to a break even point, I'll feel like that's huge, because that relieves a lot of stress on me, and it also allows
How much more debt did you acquire in 2017, being that you weren't profitable? Because if you're saying you're not breaking even, that means your debt balance went up, like credit cards, or there's you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. Was that what was happening?
Yes. Okay. So debt balance hasn't gone up. It didn't go up actually in 2017. Where we pay some down, but it only paid down like about $5,000. And it was credit cards. I acquired credit cards during my first year or so, and I wasn't doing. It's all my fault. I wasn't paying attention to things. I wasn't like really looking at what it means to be profitable, and so I was thinking like, oh, I got money in the bank, I'm fine, but that's not how it works.
Right.
So I had about, I think it's like about $53,000. I hate to even say it. It sounds horrible, but
it's okay.
In credit card debt, and so really, if I could pay that off, I think that would actually make the whole business much better. But I don't think I'm going to be able to pay it off all at once, this year. So we're working through that. That's really the big thing. I mean, but we haven't defaulted anything. I've always paid all my bills, so I don't know.
You actually did make profit then, because you used $5,000 of your profit and decided to spend it on some debt payment, which is like, you know what I'm saying? It's it's semantics, but you're not actually losing money. You're making money. It's just you're taking all the money you make, instead of buying a steak dinner, you're paying it on debt, which makes it feel like you made no money, but you did. Right?
Well, yeah, that's true. Okay. That's true.
So for this year, let's say that we want to pay off, let's see, $200-330, because you don't need to take a personal salary, which is awesome, actually. You should be able to pay off half of your credit card debt this year. Like, I think that could be a realistic goal that we could bake into your plan, right? Which would be awesome. And then what we need to do with your vacations is you need to schedule those right now. Okay? This is how you change a dream into a goal. It has to have a flag in the ground with a date attached to it. You didn't get into business to not be able to go on vacation when you want, right? It'll just put a fire under your butt to get your team competent and ready for when those vacations happen, that everything's okay. And so maybe do them in the second half of the year, all three of them or something, or maybe do a little one in the beginning. That way we can use the first half of this year to build systems and drive culture and get everybody kind of like ready for you to be able to do that, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then the last thing is, you said you want your employees to leave better people, that you want them to be developed and to say it was the best job experience they ever had. For us to do that, super simple, we're going to build a system to do it. It's called leadership development. So you need to have, and I can help you, develop a written, structured, consistent leadership development program. There's actually 5 systems you need to make for your employee, like that encompasses all the employee stuff. Okay, and if you're taking notes, the first one's recruiting. Recruiting is its own skill set. Recruiting is its own thing. We could talk for 3 hours right now just on that. So it's not, you don't gloss over it like, oh, I do a Craigslist post, or, oh, I do this. No, it's a skill. Like, you have to define an avatar of your perfect employee. You have to write copy that is compelling to that avatar. It's like fishing, right? You're marketing for employees. That's what recruiting is. That's a whole thing that we need to build a simple system around. How do we find the right types of people to potentially work at our company, right? Not that you're going to necessarily hire them, but how do you get the really good rock stars to even be interested in talking to you? You want to entice them, right? That's recruiting. The second system is interviewing. The way that you interview is a thing. You don't just talk to people and they tell you how great they are, and then you're like, okay, cool, like, you're hired. Most interviews are like first dates. It's all garbage. It's lies, right? It's fake.
Yes.
So there's tactics you can use. And so when you build your system, what you want to do is like, okay, let's make the employee or the candidate do a few things before they even get to do an interview. How do we pre-qualify people so they don't waste your time? Have you ever like had 5 people scheduled for an interview and only 1 shows up?
Absolutely.
Okay. There's things we can do, like practical, simple things, to make that not happen anymore. So you don't waste your time and get all frustrated. So we're going to build systems around interviewing. How do they get an interview? What happens? Is it an on the phone interview? Is it an in-person interview? Is it a group interview? Do you record it through Zoom or Skype? Like, what works for you? What's valuable? What's simple? How can we get really good at that so that we set ourselves up for success. The third thing is hiring. And you need to look at this from your employee's perspective. What does it feel like when they get hired by you? Does it feel like they got, some side cash job lined up that they're going to work for the next 3 months, but they're always looking for another job? Or does it feel like they just accepted a new career position at a real company? Like the paperwork, the HR docs, like the folder, like the way you make them feel, how you give them their uniform, the way that you introduce them to the rest of your team, how big of a deal you make it, how you tell your company story, how you cast the vision during that first day, their first day of work, like that hiring phase, like how you do all that, the how, write down the word how you do that can be good or it can be bad. We want it to be over the top good. They need to be like texting their mom saying, I'm so excited. I just got hired by the most cool company ever. Right?
Okay.
That's the ultimate goal. We'll start with some basic stuff first. But hiring is a thing. How do you explain your company's story, the culture, the vision for the future? How do you explain what their opportunity is there? Like, how do you clearly communicate up front from day one? Here's where you are right now. You could go way up here in pay and opportunity and bonuses, and here's the ladder you have to climb to get what you want, right?
Okay.
You show them up front. Here's the path to more money. Boom. Here's the rules of the game. Okay. The fourth thing is training. I don't know if it gives you guys like in-a-box training stuff or how that works. What does that look like now?
Well, right now it doesn't look like it's not very good. I mean, honestly, I'm big on training. I mean, I've been in the Army for so long, and it, they give us a lot of stuff. We have a manual, and it tells you how to do everything. I know how to do things, and I can train people. The problem, what typically happens is I put them with my one guy who's been for a while, and they go out with him. And I had went through and taught him how to train, and we went through it. But I can't say that that's precisely what's happening in the field because I'm not out there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's inconsistent, and that some of the things that are being emphasized.
Do you have quality issues? Do you guys get a lot of callbacks, or when you hire new people, is it like a mess for several months?
Well, it's weird. It's not like that. At first, it's good. Then there's callbacks.
Gotcha.
So I think that's because it's like you said, is that those people start to think, well, I need to find a different job. I'm not making enough money, or these things like that, and so they start to treat it that way, and they kind of feel alone, I think. But I haven't really figured out how to bridge that because I don't necessarily think I need to, like, hey, let's go hang out. That's not going to do me any good. So I'm not certain how that, I talk to them, I bring them in, I'm very honest with them, and I try to, but.
Do you guys have a shop, or do you work at your home?
No, we have a shop, which is something that, I have a lot of stuff, so.
Another overhead, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of it, but I don't really think I can. I mean, honestly, I just picked up the entire center. The guy, it's not that you can tell, but it's a huge place, a huge industrial, office place. It's huge. It's the best real estate thing I've ever seen in my life. You can literally have 18-wheelers delivering between the alleys of each building because they're built for that with loading docks and everything. But then it's all glass storefronts, and I just got the contract to do it for this year, and then I got another contract for another building from the same guy. So I basically cut my rent in half. So it's been good in that sense. So pretty soon, if I get enough to work from this guy, I could probably pay for itself. And I've got some other opportunities from being here.
What we need to do is we need to fix the training issue. It's actually really simple. I hope you don't feel overwhelmed by all the stuff we're talking about. You could do everything that we're going to talk about in like 1 week. That's how long it will take. Because we're going to define how. This is all about how. How do we recruit? Like, where do we go? What do we say? How often do we post? How do we way overdo it so we get way more applicants than we could ever even want? How do we do that? And then the second thing, which is interviewing, how do we interview? What questions do we ask them? Where do we do the interview? Everything's a how on all the stuff we're talking about. With training, let's define how. So I would start with a 3-day training program. Super simple. There's actually a sample old one in the boot camp that you can cannibalize and repurpose for yourself. Which is basic stuff. You're going to want to add window tinting and all that stuff or however you do it. But you need to have like a structured ramp up training piece before they ever go in the field. We had a really specific way that we did it, and they'd watch videos, they'd take quizzes, they'd go out in the building where our office was and like we'd teach them different cleaning techniques, and they'd just do it for hours, and then we'd stop that and go back in the classroom, then we'd buy pizza for them, and then we'd have like a video they watch, like however you want to do it is fine, but we need like 3 days worth of stuff, right? Okay. So that everything's covered. Like, how do you not scratch a window and ruin it when you use a razor? Like, that's a thing. You need to make sure they understand that. And sign a piece of paper saying, I will not use a dry razor on a piece of window. Like, whatever. Get all that stuff out of your head and onto something.
Okay.
And then the way that we ended our training, which was really helpful when we started doing this, is we sent them to fake jobs to do jobs. So we operated with 2-person crews. We had the crew leader and the assistant, right?
Yes.
So we'd have like a new training class. We'd have like 10 guys or something. We'd have these 10 new people. Now our normal crews are out working, but the 10 new people would get broken up into 5 crews, like trainee crews, and they would go do 2 real jobs. And they'd follow all the processes, because training isn't just technical training. You got to train them how to fill out the paperwork, how to clock in and out, how to request a day off. What happens if they smoke a cigarette on the job site? Like, what happens if they are on time every day for a month? They get a bonus. What happens if they're late? What happens? Everything, right?
Okay.
But they would actually, we'd use like my family's homes or my business partner's homes or just friends that we had in the area. And they would go to the job, and they knew that it was like not a legit job, but they had to follow our process exactly, from the script that they say when they get to the job, to the way they do a midpoint touch halfway through the job, to the way that they ask for referrals at the end of the job, the way that they got paid, even though they didn't get paid. They actually would do all of the process, and then we had a scorecard that we gave our friends that had the houses, and it just asked them simple questions like, did the crew leader look you in the eye? What was your overall impression of this crew? And it was like, write down their names. You had Bob and Jim. Okay, who was the crew leader? Bob was. Like, if they don't know, that means that they didn't follow our scripts. So the crew leader established himself as the authority person, right? Did he ask you for referrals? Did he say it like this? Did he do this or that or this or that? It was like a half a sheet of paper, right? And then we would get those back and then coach people through all the stuff they did wrong, right? You can do this in like 3 days to start with.
Okay.
Like the third day can be them going and doing a fake job, even though they'll go really slow. It's just important they follow the process, right?
Okay.
And then the 5th step is the one that you should be excited about, which is leadership development. The problem, though, is you can't care about leadership development unless you have the right people already working for you that are like professionally competent, which is what all the first 4 steps are about.
I'm with you there. I'm with you there.
Like, if we don't recruit the right way and interview and then hire the right way, and we're not driving culture in the beginning, like really getting them excited, if they don't understand what their future could look like over the next couple of years for you, if they don't understand like how you reward positive behavior and what the consequences of negative behavior are, if it's not really clear, then leadership development won't even work. But when you do all the stuff I just said, and we got a real good young strapping young man who's excited, then you can start developing them. And you can build that however you want. Kurt Kempton has a really cool process. He had a 5-star certification program. And there's like all these things, like if you read this book and you do a book report on it, then like you get a raise. And then you get to go to 2 stars. And then if you do this certain thing or accomplish this task where you upsell a $1,000 job, then you get to 3 stars and you get a raise. And so the idea is to help them ascend up in their personal development and also like their value to your company. And you can be creative with that and make it however you want. That's where you get to like really be creative with your vision and if you want these people to feel like you changed their lives, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to change your life? Like, what does that look like on a weekly basis? Are you running weekly team meetings? Are you like inspiring people, well, you should. That's part of your strategy for leadership development. Your head's like ready to explode now.
Well, no, it's
I know this is a lot, but look, if you do what we just said, you will have everything you want this year. That's the path. I just gave you the path. There's a caveat to it. You need to become obsessed with sales and marketing. Obsessed. But as long as you're obsessed with sales and marketing and you do what we just discussed here, you're going to get your vacations. Your team's going to handle it while you're gone. You're going to grow as human beings, and you're going to pay off $25,000 in debt this year. Like, that's awesome. That's what you want. You can have what you want. You got to do the stuff, though, that we just talked about.
Yeah, that'll work.
It always works if you execute on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's perfect, but it will work. And so after you do this, like in the spring hiring rush, like you're going to quickly identify things that are messed up with the systems that you're about to create. Like, oh, that was pointless, or that was awkward, or this is, amazing and this sucks, or whatever. That's fine. But you just tweak it. You just take out the bad stuff and you add more good stuff, and but that's how a system evolves. You have to have what's a minimum viable system to start, which will be an infinite quantum leap forward from where you are now, where you're just kind of like shooting from the hip and kind of doing whatever.
I can do it, though. I know I can do it.
You can do it. You can do it. Do one at a time, one thing at a time, and don't overcomplicate it. Keep these systems to like less than 2 pages. So fill up as much of a page or two as you can on recruiting. Who do you want to work for you? How old are they? Where do they hang out? Are they college kids? Are they single moms? What are they? Like, so what species of fish do we want? Where do the fish live? And how do I write an ad that is a really juicy bait to someone that's like that fish? Like, that's recruiting. How can you can get business cards made that all of your employees that you have now get that are recruiting business cards. Those are in the boot camp too. Like they pass them out to people that have amazing positive attitudes at the gas station or at the grocery store working with crappy jobs. And if that person gets hired, then you give a bonus to your employees. Like, that's a really simple thing, but get it done, right? That's part of your recruiting system. You also want to write some Facebook posts that your friends and family will see and your customers will see. If you do it right, you can make a recruiting post that will actually drive business to you because it makes your company look freaking amazing. And so the real goal of it isn't even to get an applicant. It's to let your customers know what type of company you run.
Okay.
You see where I'm going with that?
Yes.
You talk about leadership development. You talk about how you were in the military for 23 years. You talk about how not only do you have the high standards, but you guys know how to have a good time and you know how to reward people, and that small family companies matter and that they're going to matter and they're not just a number for your company. And it's all this epic inspirational stuff. Like, write that out and save it inside the system so you have it. That way when it's time to use it, you already did it. That's why it's a system. Just copy and paste it and submit it, right?
Got it. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm just writing this down and I was just trying to make a note.
Well, I'm also recording the call so you can listen back.
Okay. All right. So I have a question, just in the phrase. So we're a franchise and it's good. It's good in some ways. It's kind of weird in other ways. But so we, like last year, I have Hireology right now. I had signed up for it and I used it and it was pretty good. I mean, it definitely helped me a lot in structuring everything for me. It put everything in one place. It was pretty cool to use.
What is it called?
Hireology.
Is that Sid Graff?
I don't know who that. I don't know. I don't think it's Sid Graff. I don't know.
Oh no. Okay, I'm just getting confused.
It's a big.
He's got something called Squeegeology or something.
Yeah, this is Hireology. It's a big company, and they're like kind of like basically what they do is they kind of like they make the process of hiring easy for you because you don't have to post on job boards. They do the posting for you, and everything's in one place. So like I go there and there's a list of all my applicants and who I talk to, and I can kind of manage it all from one central place. And it's made it really easy, and they have a series of questions that were developed for us in conjunction with different and it worked really well.
Yeah.
just because it made it easy, because it's hard to keep everything together. Trying to check this, get all these different emails coming from Indeed or wherever you put your job ad, and you just got flooded. Whereas this just gave you a quick list and let you know if they, passed the gates. Anyways, I guess my question is, do I really need something like that? I guess it's something I can ask myself, but how do you feel about it? Because I feel like, well, it's good. I need to put money into hiring, but is this where I need to put the money at? Or is this something I can
spending money is like, it's a luxury that comes with scale. And what people do, they have their little business and they want to buy their way out of all the problems. But the reason it doesn't work is because the most important thing that is going to happen on what we discussed today is you doing it. It's not about even the system. Like, you need to go through this process of understanding the architecture of your own company, of defining the own personality of your own brand. If you can't articulate it, no one ever will, and your company will never do anything cool. It won't get big, right? So even though it sucks and it's annoying, like you going through the process is really the most valuable piece of what we're talking about. Just like in the military, when you go through boot camp, it's really not about you just knowing how to clean an M16 or whatever, like, technical skill you learn. It's about who you become going through the process as a human. So as a business owner, this is like boot camp. Like, I'm of the opinion that you need to invest your time and your sweat into these systems in the beginning. And then when you start scaling up, spending money on automation and software and tools is super awesome. It's amazing, but you already have a foundation at that point.
All right. That's kind of how I was feeling. I was like, well, I probably could use that money to put more ads out as opposed to just have a. All right. I like it. That's really my question. I think it's enough. Like I said, my goals are overall big, but this year, I think this will definitely help me out. This is great.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. That was kind of a unique call. I'm sorry the audio quality is not great on those. When you record over the phone, it's not as good, but there is massive value in there, and I hope you can relate. Now, tomorrow I'm going to play you like the second part of this because we discuss a lot of other things as well, and I can't wait for you to hear it. Take care. God bless, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Hey, thanks for hanging out, friends. And from all of us here at the Quick Talk Podcast team, we hope you loved today's show. We hope that you were inspired to become a doer and not just a listener. Apply what you've heard today in your own business and watch things change for the better. Lastly, remember that all the money in the world can't save your soul. Seek first the kingdom of God, my friends. We'll see you next time.
For more information about the Quick Talk Podcast or Joshua's other businesses, visit our website, quicktalkpodcast.com. Have a blessed day.